There's been a lot of chatter about how miserable Trevor Zegras supposedly is because he didn't celebrate after scoring 2 goals. Let me set the record straight. The first goal people pointed to was his first non-empty goal of the season. The lack of celebration? It came from frustration that it took this long to get one. And guess what? He celebrated his next 2 goals with pure joy. Hardly the actions of someone who is unhappy.
Trevor Zegras picks up the loose change as a trailer.
Then there was the shootout winner where he didn't celebrate. But let's look at the context. He was having a rough game, even getting bumped down to the 4th line at one point. Still, after the game, Zegras was screaming, smiling, laughing. He seems to be having more fun celebrating his teammates' goals this season. And guess what? Someone straight up asked him if he was having fun, and he said this. Does that sound like someone who's miserable? I say it sounds like someone who's maturing and knows he can be better. Zegras has been solid defensively all season, and just as his offensive game was heating up and he seemed to be having fun, he gets injured. At least now, the narrative is correct. Zegras is probably not having fun. I was even starting to laugh because I thought he lost his skate blade at first. My bad. I don't want to assume the worst, but the signs aren't promising. Zegras immediately waved for help, and the team announced so quickly that he wouldn't return. Then there's this concerning image of his calf going around. It's hard not to think of how some of the worst injuries come from seemingly nothing. Like when Kobe tore his Achilles. Nothing happened, and then something did happen. In this case, Zegras and William Karlsson clipped skates. Zegras' left leg appeared to overextend while his right leg collapsed awkwardly. We're all hoping for good news, especially considering Z's struggles last season. He missed significant time with a broken ankle and groin injuries. And now this. The Ducks now have 2 of their 3 best players out in Karlsson and Zegras. And surprisingly, when your stars are out, the games are boring, like in this one. You know the funny thing about this game? It felt like the Ducks were slow to start, with Gibson keeping them in it. Then, as the Ducks found their legs midway through, they started to play better, only to get scored on. Zegras and Fowler get confused on who's taking who, and the rebound is there for the tap-in. The Ducks' best chance of the first came off a big Ross Johnston hit, and it set up Colangelo. The 4th line was probably the Ducks' best line in this game. They were aggressive, hitting hard, and winning puck battles. Unfortunately, when the 4th line is your best, it's hard to win games. Still, the Ducks didn't have a bad first period and trailed just by 1 heading into the second. And just as the second started, this is where we hope and pray that Zegras will be okay. After his exit, Terry and Gauthier rotated into his spot on that line. The injuries seemed to take the energy out of the building, and the Knights capitalized by adding another goal to go up 2-0. Helleson misread the play, creating a 2-on-1 that Gibson saved, but Strome was late getting back to cover Theodore, who put it into an open net. The Ducks killed off a penalty shortly after, and there was some life when they earned a power play of their own. As it expired, Lacombe scored his 2nd goal in as many games, and his first goal not scored in the crease to cut it 2-1. Leeson and Colangelo kept the puck alive, and McTavish drove to the net and created traffic. The Ducks ended the period with a solid push, but they still trailed by a goal heading into the third. And they would again trail by 2 goals early. Gudas overcommits, creating another 2-on-1, and then Gibson overcommits, not expecting a pass back. The Ducks had a few chances, including a good look from Troy Terry, but they couldn't close the gap. After successfully killing another penalty, thanks to Gibson, the Ducks pulled their goalie late, only to see Vegas seal the game with an empty netter. Adding insult to injury, former Ducks William Karlsson and Shea Theodore combined for 3 goals in the 4-1 loss. The Ducks didn't play that bad, it was just boring. Vegas did an excellent job keeping them to the outside. When you're missing 2 of your top 3 players and best playmakers in that, and Z and Leo, it's going to be hard to generate anything. Oh, and on top of that, one of your rising star young defensemen was benched too. I already mentioned that Fowler was back in this game, paired with Gudas, a combination we better never see again because it was awful. Unfortunately, this meant Minchukov was scratched. If you're in our Discord, you probably saw this coming based on the defensive pairings at practice. Missing 1 game isn't the end of the world for Minty. He hasn't been great, but he also hasn't been bad either. A break to sit and watch might actually do him some good. The bigger issue is that this isn't going to be a one-time thing. It might not always be Minty, but the Ducks are not going to scratch any veteran defenseman in Fowler, Gudas, or Dumoulin, which means it's going to be a rotating door for the other young defensemen to sit, and it's only going to get worse when Vakanainen returns, which, conveniently, he was put on IR after missing some time already. But when he does come back, as I've said before, and will keep saying, Verbeek needs to make a trade to clear up the logjam. On a brighter note, Leo Carlsson was named to Sweden's 4-nation tournament roster, making him the youngest player by 2 years. Him being included is a positive sign that his injury isn't too serious, which we already kind of knew. Hopefully, he will be ready to return Friday at 7 p.m. against the Wild because the Ducks will need him against the league's best team. You know what else I need? I need you to stop by and say hi to me and other amazing women during Women in Sports Weekend. On Friday, we will be near the Ducks team store from 5:30 to 7 p.m. And on Saturday, you can find us at Great Park Ice, where the Ducks practice, from 9:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. I'll have pay what you want, buttons, bottle openers, keychains, and magnets, with the proceeds going to the Women's Sports Foundation. Plus, there will be 2 raffle bundles featuring signed items from legacy players and current players. The raffle proceeds will go towards supporting Duck My Life and myself to help continue to create content. Even if you're not buying anything, come by, grab some free stickers and some other free surprises, and if you can't make it, I will be live streaming the event. I might not be reading the chat much, but enjoy the vibes or maybe the chaos of it all. There may even be a way for you to enter the raffle online. Hope to see you there. Thank you to our members. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and go Ducks!